I'm Helen Walker. I'm a sports physiotherapist working at Physio for Athletes in Melbourne. And today what we're going to be talking about is the particular flexibility requirements for the swimming strokes. Now, with swimming, you really need to be able to hold a good streamlined position so that your head is in line with your torso and your hips and the legs following through there. So a nice long spine and good arm extension. You also need to be able to achieve a good high elbow position so that you can catch the water and exert a long full stroke. So what we're going to be doing is running through with Clayton some of the flexibility tests and how much range you require, and then later on a little bit on how to go about improving these movements if you need to. So the first step, Clayton, I'd like you to tuck your thumbs in under your armpits, and we're going to look at Clayton's high elbow position. So lifting the elbows out to the side, and what we'd ideally like to see is an angle of about 140 degrees or so from here to here. So Clayton's quite good there, but if we look at the right side compared to the left, we can see this is a little bit lower, and we'd be asking Clayton to stretch this side more so that we can even up his flexibility. Once again, the high elbow test. The next test we'll be looking at is upper back rotation, because during the strokes you need to be able to rotate your shoulders to pull through properly. So sitting tall please, Clayton, and I'll get you to pop your arms out in front, palms together. During this test it's really important to keep the hands in the midline and not shift the shoulders to the side. And I'm going to ask you to turn as far as you can go, and we're looking for a 90-degree arc of rotation, equal left to right and the other way. So Clayton has really good rotational range of motion there. Okay, the next test, I get you to come and sit on the end of the couch facing out this way. Now this test, I'll get you to lie down on your back and pull one knee up towards your chest. And what we're looking at here is the fall of Clayton's thigh on the opposite side. So you really need to hug the knee closer to the chest, looking at this angle, and you want the thigh to fall somewhere below horizontal. If the thigh is sticking up in the air like that, this means the hip flexor is tight and you need to work on that flexibility. Let's have a look at the other side. For those doing this at home, you can easily do this test off the edge of a bed. So hugging the knee up to the chest once again and letting the leg relax. You can see on this side that Clayton's thigh is up above horizontal slightly. That's telling me that his hip flex is a little bit tight and he needs to stretch that area. I'll get you now to move up the couch, please, lying on your back. Yeah. And what we're going to do here is have a look at Clayton's shoulder external rotation range of motion. And we need the arm at a 90-degree angle to the body. And I'm going to get you to rotate back as far as you can go. And that's lovely range of motion there because Clayton's able to rotate his forearm down below horizontal. If the forearm is sitting up above horizontal, that means he's too tight and he'll need to stretch through his pecs. So that looks really good. A very simple test, which is often forgotten in swimming, is ankle point. You really need to be able to point those toes and ankles down to get a good relaxed foot during the kick, and ideally we'd like an angle of 180 degrees there. The last test, and perhaps one of the most important, is the streamline test. So I'll get you to roll over onto your stomach. To do this test, get you to just move down the couch a little bit and lying down with your chin down on the couch, eyes forward. When we're testing here, we get the arms extended and the thumbs linked together. You can do this test at home on the floor. And the idea here is to keep the chin in contact with the floor, the chest, the hips, the legs down, and lift your arms up, then Clayton, as high as you can go. And once again, And just chin forward, cheating a little bit there. So keep that chin in line, and we can see that Clayton's getting a nice angle above the horizontal. So, and relax, and I'll just repeat that again, lifting up. This is horizontal. Ideally, you'd like to hit that mark. Anything above horizontal is excellent. Note there that Clayton's keeping the rest of his body down. So it's selective flexibility through this area, reflecting that Clayton has good length through his lats and his pecs and really good strength through the back muscles. Okay, now what we're going to do is talk about some things that you can do yourself to help improve your flexibility or your strength for those things you've identified during your testing that you might need to work on. You'll need a trigger ball, and a foam roller is also really handy. So we're going to be working here with Annabelle, and the first thing I'm going to get Annabelle to do is a stretch to improve her ankle point. So if you go back and remember that we wanted a 180 degree angle. So the easiest way to do this is to place the foot straight, make sure they're not turned in, otherwise that will hurt your ankles, and then just gently rock back. You can take the weight on your hands, leaning back so the feet are forced into a pointed position and you get a good stretch across the front of the ankle joint. If you get any pain, please stop this particular stretch and seek some advice from your healthcare professional. The next stretch that we'll do is facing this way, please, Annabelle. Yeah. And we're going to do a hip flexor stretch. So I'll ask you to put one leg up. Okay. Reach your arms up into streamline. So Annabelle, attention to detail with this particular stretch is really important. So I want you to lengthen through your spine, nice and tall, and then tuck your bottom under so that you're opening up the front of the hip and getting a stretch in your hip flexor. Can you feel that? And if that's not stretching enough, you can lean away to increase the stretch. So once again, the key points here are to keep the spine long and in alignment and tuck the bottom under. All right, next thing we'll do is in side lying, and we're going to do an exercise to improve the upper back rotation mobility. So I'd like you to lie on your side, arms out in front and knees bent up to 90 degrees, hips to 90 degrees, long spine again. And Annabelle, I'm going to ask you to reach forward with that top hand, bring the arm up to vertical, then the arm stays in line with the shoulders. It's not to rotate behind the line of the shoulders, and rotate your rib cage backwards. So this is a really nice upper back mobility exercise. Once again, keeping the arm in line with the shoulders and returning to the start position and reaching forward and up to vertical. Arm in line with the shoulders and rotating the rib cage back. So the movement is occurring from the upper back, not the low back. How does that feel?
That feels good. And
trying to rotate further on each rotation, and you'd want to be doing 10 on each side. Okay, now lying on your back please, and I'll get you to lie on the foam roller all the way up, head up the top and your bottom up on it. So just scoot up on the roller, good work. Starting with your arms up vertical, and we're going to do a pec stretch, keeping your spine long and then dropping the arms back so you're opening up through your chest till you get a stretch through the front of the shoulders there. Holding that for about 30 seconds and repeating 5 times. If you're someone who's particularly forward through the shoulder, you can start this particular exercise with the elbows down by your side here and then rotating out that way. And this will help open up and stretch a little bit more through the pec minor. So you'll feel this stretch in a different part of the chest muscles. And relax. Now we're going to turn the foam roller horizontal and have that underneath your shoulder blades here. So mid back, and streamline arms, reaching over. So I want you, Annabelle, just to check your position and scoot up on the roll other way a little bit. And here, trying to work on keeping your low back flat, so flatten the low back down, head up in line, so don't drop your head back, and stretching so that the upper back only is arching over the roller. Once again, holding for 30 seconds, about 5 repetitions. And up you get there. And I'll get you to now turn around and face the roller. And placing the palm up and slightly across the body with a straight arm. And roll that out, dropping your bottom down until you feel a stretch through the lat. You'll notice with the lat muscle, if you want to stretch it effectively, you can have your palm down or your palm up, once again keeping your spine long and holding that position to get a really good stretch. You should feel it in this area. And relax. So these stretches can be performed before or after training, and really important to work on that flexibility so you can get into the positions you need to get into when you're swimming. This is what we call a trigger ball, and we use it to perform self-massage techniques to the muscles around the body that work hard, but particularly in swimming, we use it around the shoulder. So what we're going to do is demonstrate with Annabelle here is leaning down, lying back on the trigger ball, putting the trigger ball under the upper trapezius muscle and rolling around. When you're using the trigger ball, it's important to move on top of it until you find the point that's particularly tender, and then hold the pressure on that spot for about 10 seconds till it eases off, and then repeat the process. So the important muscles to work on for the swimming shoulder is the upper trapezius, and I'll get you to sit up there, moving down to lower trapezius, once again rolling around on the ball, finding that sore spot. Have you got that there, Annabelle?
Yes.
And holding that for 10 seconds till the soreness eases off. Now I'm going to get you, we'll switch to the opposite shoulder, and the most important muscles to work on are the rotator cuff muscle groups, which sit on the back of the shoulder blade here in this triangle. Usually swimmers are quite familiar with this particular muscle group, and lying on that shoulder with the trigger ball underneath, lifting your arm up into some elevation, because remembering in swimming we're always working with the arms up high, rolling around till you feel the tender and tight spot, and holding that. And in this way you can do some self-massage for the rotator cuff muscles. The final group, which is really good to work with, is if you lie on your tummy there, please, Annabelle, the pec muscles just in this corner here, arm out to the side a little and rolling around till you find the tender spot. If it's too uncomfortable with your body weight on the trigger ball, you can always do this up against a wall so you can control the amount of pressure that you're putting on there. So they're the different stretches and mobility exercises that you can do regularly to improve your flexibility for swimming. It's really important though that you do them often, either before or after training.